Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's the Holy Hour Podcast, the All Cure Podcast, and I'm Gavin. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a really lovely show for you guys, and just wanted to say a quick hello on the top here. Since we recorded this about a month ago now, we're actually getting ahead of the curve on a lot of these recordings, so my intros seem dated. So I'd like to just do a quick hello as everyone starts to wind down their kiddo's school year, or maybe your own, and start gearing up for summer here before we know it. And in a time that we would normally be gearing up to see a scattered Cure show here or there, or maybe planning a gigantic festival or some travel even based on the Cure. Still not going to happen this year, even though things are looking promising. Shows are starting to get booked for mostly it's the late fall kind of calendars, but things are popping up now, and I think there's even a few big festivals happening, but luckily the Cure is not quite going there just yet, but it's nice to see, and I hope everybody out there is starting to feel a little more positive and getting out in the sunshine and still doing good. So I'm happy for that. I want to appreciate the positive momentum, and hopefully it can all hold up. But like I said, we got a great show. Since we won't be seeing the Cure this summer, we're trying to focus on some of these live albums and appreciate the live recordings we have of this band throughout their 40-year career. We're looking at two of the classics tonight, Show in Paris, and it's quite an episode. I gotta warn you, trigger warning, our guest Matt got the full Donald experience on this one, so we'll chalk it up to some maybe he's getting down to the bottom of the barrel on the moon weed that he harvested up there while waiting for Robert Smith. And I think it hits him a little hard in the middle of the episode or somewhere. He comes off the chart a little bit, but we're able to rein him back in, and starts out smoothly enough. So who knows? So just keep your boxing gloves ready. We do our best to keep the bad boy under control there, but it gets a little heated. So brace yourselves. You've been warned. But for the most part, it's a wonderful conversation. Always pleasant talking to Matt. He's been such a great supporter of the show since the early days, and always enjoy talking to him, whether it be in emails back and forth or actual contributions that he's sent in for the recordings. Such a sweet and articulate fella. He really should be running this whole show himself, but I'm sure he has more productive things to be doing. So until then, we'll just try to talk to him lots, and it was a real treat to have him on the show. Yeah, it was one of the Patreon. He's a loyal Patreon follower. So we said, what would be a topic you would like to talk about? And he said, you guys should just talk about Paris. And we're like, no way, you got to talk about Paris with us. So we're happy he totally agreed to come on and not only talk about Paris, but show. So if you want to get on the Patreon action, by the way, this is a great way to do it. So speaking of Patreon, quick shout out before we get rolling to our loyal crew over there, Donna, Craig, and Jeff, and Matt, of course, and Jeff Cortland, and Claire, and Susanna, and John, and of course Lisa, who would also like us to know about Dickens, a pub up in Calgary. It's been doing live streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays, and that's at 8 p.m. for Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Mountain Central Time, and Fridays at 9 p.m. And they just DJ. Chris, one of the owner DJs, all our favorite kind of tunes. They've been picking themes of bands to do. Everything from Depeche Mode to Erasure Nights to Prodigy, all kinds of cool stuff. So keep your eyes peeled on Dickens YYC on Twitch to follow along, and their Instagram will tell you what's on the menu. So Dickens YYC on Instagram and Twitch. And of course, CureThreads.com is where you'll find Kate's awesome Cure products and clothing and all kinds of awesomeness. If you're looking to spruce up your Cure wardrobe for the summer, that's the place to go for sure. You can get everything from some nice dresses to tank tops, different varieties of Cure wear. So go check out CureThreads.com. Her newest book, The Secret Life of the Sloth, is also available still on CureThreads.com. It's a wonderful book. I've been reading it at least twice a week with our my kiddo, and hence it just loves it. It's a adorable book with great illustrations for all sloth lovers out there. So be sure to check that out. And of course, the Sarlacc Digest, our buddy Scott Kruger, his Star Wars podcast that is currently on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Time on YouTube. So go to their YouTube channel, Sarlacc Digest, and you can get in on the action as they talk all things Star Wars and current news. And right now they're really focusing on The Bad Batch, the new series on Disney Plus. So don't want to miss any of those episodes. The whole back catalog is there too. And we're hoping to have Scott back on the show before too long. Always a pleasure talking to him. But all right, enough of my jibber jabber. Let's talk to the boys, see what's going on with these live albums. Hello and welcome to the Holy Hour Podcast. It's the bi-weekly All Cure Podcast, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. I'm Gavin. I'm joined by Chaz and Donald, and a very special guest, Matt. How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? Hey.
Auto parts.
Whoa.
Woo.
That's right. Guys, I am fired up. I'm ready to talk about The Cure's best live album.
Yeah.
And another one.
And the other one? Which one is the best then? We'll see. Lots of mystery here. We are indeed talking about Show in Paris tonight, as you probably discovered by the title of this episode. So yeah, we're showing some live love. I've been meaning to do this more this year, where we talk about the live stuff, since we're obviously not going to see The Cure live this year. Didn't see them last year, so we're getting on a long stretch. So it seems like a good time. Plus, we've run out of albums to review, so let's do the live albums.
Stretch
What do you
your
think?
legs.
So, but more importantly, I do want to welcome Matt, one of our loyal patrons from the Patreon, but more importantly, a longtime supporter of the show. You've contributed a whole bunch of stuff, so any diehard listeners should recognize you from many lovely segments you've sent in, and I just always just really appreciate the support you've given us over the whole roll. Seems like a long time now, so thank you.
let me just right off the bat just say something here. So thank you for the kind words, guys. Look, I feel like as a surrogate for the Holy Hour audience right now, I have to do my due diligence to potentially call out some opinions on here that might roll a few eyes.
There goes the next 3 hours right there.
Shit on us, Matt. Just take a big dump on the podcast, but I feel like we should just go into it.
Well, probably.
Let's hammer it
Yeah,
out.
it'll probably come up on a lot of these songs here. So if we go by 90% of our hate mail, it's all stemmed around Donald's thoughts on anything Wish related. So I think
Donald's thought on anything related.
Yeah, sure.
That's all right.
So,
That's why I'm here, man.
I think Donald's got some good points.
yeah.
Well, let's see.
That's why we keep him around, you know?
That's right. I like you, bud.
Awesome. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And I guess right off the top, I had something really funny happen today that was Show in Paris related. I've been keeping the 2 CDs in my car driving around like for the past week or so, just trying to get as many listens in as possible. And today, after dropping off the kiddo at school, I got the CDs out of the car. I was like, well, I better take these in for tonight because I want to keep them right next to me while we're recording. And but then I was like, oh, shit, I got to run the trash down real quick. So I put the CDs on the trunk of my car on the top of it and took the trash down and went in until I forgot about them, right? And then later in the day, I had to run to the grocery store. I drive to the grocery store. As I get out, my CDs are still sitting on the back of the top of the trunk. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. They held on the whole ride. I have no idea how.
Wow, that's a sign.
Must have been all that soda sugar just like melted to the bottom.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. What the hell? The only thing I could think of is like I kind of stood them upright in the crack between the back windshield and the trunk initially. So maybe they... That held them.
That's what's up. I was
But
gonna ask if you had like a spoiler.
no.
But yeah, you got him in that lit, man. That's
But when I
sick
pulled
as
into
shit.
space,
That's
they were
dope.
just
Nice.
totally
Yeah.
balanced on the trunk lid there. Lid. What am I talking about? The top of the trunk.
It'd be great if like a squirrel was outside and came out and was like, "Oh no, not these!" and like rushed
Yeah.
to the car and saved them.
Totally.
The squirrel's a big fan of Wendy time for some
Yeah.
reason.
I gotta save Wendy time. So, but yeah, just had to share that because that was pretty weird, I thought. So, should we dive in then?
Yeah.
Show.
Do it.
All right. So we're talking 1993 at this point, even though they're from obviously the Wish Tour 92. So we got the Wish lineup recorded over 2 nights in July 18th and 19th at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. So kind of odd, don't you think? Like, why there? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're recording it.
That's one of the best venues in the Rust Belt, bud. Like,
Yeah, you
man.
stand by that one?
Is that the Rust Belt?
I've never been, but it's just like it sounds weird.
Yeah, nothing against, Auburn Hills, but just seems like
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like Los Angeles or, New York City or even like Dallas
Yeah.
or Chicago.
Right.
Yeah, like a big showy like city
Yeah.
or something. But it's like the Rust Belt's the shit. But
Is that
like,
the
it's
Rust
so
Belt?
odd. It's odd venue.
because I don't recall them like recording every show too, so maybe they like thought that one was like exceptionally brilliant or something, but maybe it was something like that where they only did like a few of them, or yeah, I guess it could be a billion factors, but
Yeah, very curious to see, if they had tried different dates and different recordings and they settled on this one.
Yeah.
Like what those other
Yeah.
ones would have sounded like. Or
Yeah, more shit from that Robert Smith vault that he's sitting on. He's probably got like 6
Yes.
alternate versions of the whole concert. I was like, but
get ready. Well, we know he records every show.
yeah,
so.
true, yeah.
Yeah, like that's what most bands do. It's like they like really record, like big bands. They record every friggin' show, and then like if they want to make a live album, it's like tons of material. Like,
Yeah, if you want to use up that record contract, like if you got to put out 5 albums and you got 4 and you want to get out of the contract, you just put out that live album
Yeah.
and
Right.
wave goodbye.
Yeah, totally. So we saw him 2 months before this was recorded, so that was kind of cool and just kind of adds the sentimental value that at least that was documented pretty well,
right. Like it was dope to kind of have that like little like timestamp like of it
Yeah.
live. It's like before
Yeah.
I knew how
I'm
to
jealous.
get like I was so young, and it's like I wasn't like into bootlegs and shit, like. And there's no internet where I could watch like live shows and stuff, and it was just like it was nice to have like a representation of like kind of 2 sides to the band is how I always looked at it.
Yeah.
It's like
but also kind of tough because I totally remember the show as just being show the video now, in this, a lot of the details. I'm like, he was wearing the exact same thing, which he probably was actually, but at the same time in my brain and memory, it's like exactly that, where it's like,
right.
But close
and it's
enough.
cool. It's like it's like a coin, like those 2
Yeah.
records together. It's like a flip side, like it's
Yeah.
kind of like one side of the band than the other, and like Paris
Yeah.
is always kind of like sicker.
Totally.
That's kind of why I feel like we do have to do both of them. Like you suggested doing just Paris, Matt, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, but we probably should do both because it would just be kind of weird. You would end up talking about one without it being there. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
Yeah, no, I totally think it's one of those yin and yang situations where
Totally.
you really get such a unique taste with Paris of just these album cuts that most people are never going to hear if they go see them live.
yeah,
And then you get kind of the crowd pleasing singles and all the Wish tracks and just how like, I don't want to say bloated, but kind of how big show is
Yeah.
with
Right.
everything in it, and just how like so tight Paris is, and
Yeah.
it's just like a good moment, like you're saying, like it represented that 1992 group so well, like, and we're seeing the pop side, we're seeing the kind of dark side, just really like from a marketing standpoint, I was so glad they put both of these out.
Yeah, it was like
for
from a
sure.
marketing, it's really brilliant. Like it's really fucking smart.
Yeah.
And like they literally named it Show. Because I was
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
it, like you mentioned marketing, and just like, and I was thinking about it, like they literally named it Show.
Yeah. We're putting a
Like-
show on.
Yeah, it's like it's very literal to the point. It's like how I talk about like the Cure sometimes, and like they get very literal with things. You know, it is like this is a great example. It's like putting on a fucking show and we're gonna sell it and market it like motherfuckers, and they did, and they got like bigger as a band because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Marketing
'cause
wise,
Yeah, this was the peak, right?
Yeah.
Or close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like definitely
It was downhill at before
mainstream commercial kind of peak, yeah. Where it was, but I mean, but then one of the weird things that kind of dawned on me more on these listens than in the past, because I've always kind of said show is like a almost you could give it to somebody as like a best of, really, because it is like, you know, such like a entry point and Wish focused, but it's so Wish focused too that it's like you can kind of think of it that way, or it's kind of like the last like also promotion just of this, you know, huge platinum selling record, Wish. You know, it's all like here's Wish
Totally.
and all these like awesome singles, but it's not like, you know what I mean, the single choices even are so like they don't even go further back than Head on the Door, you know, so it doesn't have any of that, you know, that Paris will pick up the slack on, you know, but like
right?
if you look at it, I was even kind of surprised how it's like, you know, just basically, you know, fancy version of Wish where you're plugging in just like Heaven instead of like some of the slower songs. You know, it's like they take out the slower songs and they just put all the singles in. So yeah. But it's weird too to think that they didn't have. I mean, they had the concert one from '84. And then up until this point, though, I mean, they had like In Orange and stuff, but they didn't have another live album. Entreat was out, but I think at that point it was only that kind of super rare. I think it started out being like a fan club kind of thing, even that, you know, it was pretty hard to get Entreat initially. Yeah. So this was kind of like the first real live album that you had of The Cure, you know, unless you were able to snag concert pretty early on. But So I mean, that makes sense that they had to put something out and, you know, kind of capitalize on this moment too, where it's like, because, you know, they're so good live that you got to capture that and all the other cool live stuff. So it's kind of worth noting too, the weird format. Like, I didn't realize there was like a 2-disc version out there somewhere. Mine was always just the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and then
that's the one I have.
Okay, yeah, me too. And then there was the Sideshow little EP single kind of thing that came out with
which
it.
fills the gaps of the single disc.
Yeah, so I don't really
it
get
has
what
tape on
the
it,
point.
which I'm very jealous of. So.
Yeah, like a real version of tape, because there's a little bit of tape
Yeah.
before Open, I guess, which is cool. Which they should have done that on the album, in my opinion. I don't know why they didn't just tack that into the
No, that's
beginning,
really
you know,
good.
No.
It's way better.
Can we just talk about really quick? I know, like, we're talking specifically about the album, but how fucking awesome the intro to the concert film is.
Yes.
With tape playing, and you see all those like cool teenagers and just like a hodgepodge of cool ass people like just doing their thing, and it's kind of shot in a way where they all have like little stories, and some of them connect and some of them don't. It's in black and white. It's just so awesome.
Mm-hmm. I was like, who are these people? I want to hang out with all these people.
Yeah, I know. So cool. They look like the coolest people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's always stuck out to me too.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good energy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like the vinyl's the 2-disc with the singles already in there, or with the like Sideshow plugged in. But I guess I don't know. Was that like a U2, like a UK thing? I guess that had it. It doesn't really make any sense or matter that much. Most
about
people.
Sideshow though.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of lost. So like, if anybody was just streaming it, it was like Fascination Street. Walk.
Fascination Street,
yeah, tape, Fascination Street, Walk, and Let's Go to Bed. So
nice.
Yeah, so, I mean, it would have kind of filled it out a bit more. When I'm looking at Wish or Show now, it is just like I said, it was just all Wish, and then like Head on the Door up, like the mega singles from then up, you know. So it's kind of like, oh wow, because there's also like 4 songs at the end of the video for an encore that aren't on any of the recordings, which is kind of a bummer. It was like Primary, Boys Don't
And they're
Cry.
great.
And especially a Forest. Like a Forest is fucking rad on that one.
Yes.
So I mean, it's like 11 minutes, I think. So it probably would have taken up like a whole.
So that particular one, and I think they were just doing this a few times on the tour, but they were working some Joy Division stuff.
Yeah,
in there too,
totally. She's Lost Control riff is in there. It's like that.
Yes. So good.
That's wild as shit, man.
It's pretty real.
I know. So this is something, and I know, like, you guys talk about this constantly, but it really is the truth. When they start doing these remasters and reissues, they have to. And it's such a no-brainer to get this thing out, like, the complete concert with Forest and To Wish Impossible Things and the other ones that were cut.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun.
Like, I think that's what hampers the release that we got.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I just think, and we can get into this, but the bookend of this thing where you have Open, which is an okay song to me, it's fine.
Yeah.
But that's 7 minutes, and then at the very end of the show, you have End, which is 8 minutes long, and it's an even slower tempo than the album version.
Right.
And I love when they play with the arrangements. Like, believe me, I think that's awesome, but that eats up 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
The thing you're putting out there. I would have liked, give us something snappy, like open up with Edge of the Deep Green Sea. Yeah, close with The Forest, or close with,
That's crazy that End is that long on that. Yeah, I'm looking at that. That's longer than Edge of the Deep Green Sea even. That's crazy. It
is, and I love, like, you're not going to hear me say a bad thing about Paris, but it's very hard to get through End on this thing.
Yeah,
I could not do it. I tried.
I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean, like, just, like, I've been really into, like, the flow of a show. I've been watching, like, listening to, like, old Guided by Voices shows from, like, the mid-90s. Mm-hmm. And, like... Mm-hmm. And they just the way they, like, because they know, like, a million songs. Like, Guided by Voices, they put out, like, a million fucking songs. Like, their catalog is deep. And, like, live, they'll just be like, what do you want to listen to the crowd? And they could just pull it up and just, like, fucking rock it out. And, like, like a live show, the structure of it. And, like, they end it with, like, 2 encores always with their big jams. And... it's, like, perfect. Yeah. And it's, like, why not capture that? Like, if you're going to record a live album, like, and this is, like, whack-ass, like, show recordings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm listening to. It's not, like, a full fucking camera crew and, like, scaffolding. There's a lot there. Like, record it. Like, fucking record it, put it out. Like, they've been playing music forever.
That's awesome. I was talking to, do you guys know that guy Chris Ott? He's a journalist.
I don't think so.
He did. He wrote for Pitchfork, and he does, like, he did a few podcasts and videos on. He calls it Shallow Rewards. But I was going back with him on some stuff, and he said the reason that show doesn't look great is because Robert, in kind of, like, not the best business decision, he had a UK camera crew come over to do the US stuff, and because you have to convert the format. To, like, I think it's called PAL or something like that. Like the UK equivalent. Yeah. There's a little bit of a degradation in the video. So he was like, if they remaster that thing, they have to go back to the original source and do it the right way. Because what we got was kind of like a step down from how it looked in the UK, I guess.
That's totally so right on, man. It always boils down to, like, the details of, like, we didn't think of that. And it fucks up a whole fucking production. Like, lots of money went into that, and people, like, there's someone there that didn't think about, like, the conversion shit and, like,
it's more frustrating, and the idea of it being re-released, like, that's enough of a hang-up for Robert Smith to be like, well, we just won't ever mess with it now. It's gone. Who cares? It's like, no, wait.
Like, go back and remaster
it can't be,
it. Like,
can't be that fucking hard to convert it and remaster it. Even if you put out the exact same version on DVD, people would be happy, but that's a whole other rant. But, yeah, that's interesting, and yeah, I think he was never really happy in the direction of it anyway. It seems like he was kind of never as big on it as, like, anything that Tim Pope did and stuff, or I like it. It is different, though. You could tell, like, the style of it's a little more kind of 90s concert film than something Tim Pope would have done. But
yeah, it's.
I mean, I watched it a lot.
It's interesting to stack it up.
But I mean, going back to your idea, Donald, of like how they constructed it, I mean, I think it captures the show perfectly. I mean, it was that. The only gripe is that they couldn't put the whole thing in there, because if you did include the encores, like we were saying with the Forest and stuff, yeah, then you would get like the full Cure concert experience, but that's going to be like a 5-disc thing. I mean, they just always have that problem where you can't put it all on there, and it's
right. And why can't you? Because you can as a band,
though. I mean,
you
not at that stage.
Can.
Well,
if
that's what they would do
show,
now,
like put it all out. Like if you're playing a show, like people are watching it, like
you're the one that doesn't like anything over 3 hours long, and now you want the long version.
But I'm saying, as a fucking artist, like if you're gonna do something, fucking do it. Like put out your whole fucking show.
Go big or go home.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm on for it. Of course, I'd love to see it too. But at the same time, they still want it to just be a tangible live album that people can put on and actually make it through.
I think they should just put out a 20-disc CD of the entire sets from every single show from that entire tour.
Yeah, just cover it all.
It'll be like 500 songs played.
Might as well at that point.
Yeah. Might as well just be a giant CD book you're
like
gonna buy.
They did that more now, like with the anniversary and the curation thing, the box set that you didn't bother to buy, right? Because it was like it had everything, so it was like, now they would put that shit out, but they're not going to do that back.
But that's
then.
like the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, that's what he's saying. He wants everything out. Where it's like you could do that at your 40th anniversary, but they're still winning fans over and still pushing Wish even at this point. Yeah. I mean, it's not like all they're trying to do here is remind people that they're also the band that sang In Between Days and Just Like Heaven, and they're like, oh shit, that's the same band. Yeah, Wish is great. Let's put that all together. And that's why Paris is cool, because it's like a little more of a nod to the fans, but we'll get into that in a minute. So it's like, all right, and here's a little something extra. But
I think that also makes Paris stronger, because if you look at I guess the contemporary thing would be, and even this is older, but like Stop Making Sense was 12 songs.
Yeah.
I think. And then the Sign of the Times live show was 13. So this is 14, plus the UK got the double CD. So if anything, they're throwing the fans a bone by giving you those extra Wish tracks on there.
Yeah, they're already pushing
what I mean? Because to like the fan who that summer heard Friday I'm in Love, and then got into the band, that's what, they want to hear that and maybe a couple singles. They're not going to want to hear, 100 Years.
Right.
I don't know. But
a couple nods to show that I would like to express is one, I love this version of A Night Like This because it doesn't have the sax solo, and we finally have a real version with the guitar solo. And that bleeds into the idea of like even at the time I might have taken it for granted a little bit, but just how awesome Pearl was on this whole thing, where this is like just shredding at its prime, and like really just because of that 3 guitars going for the first time. God damn, I mean, it's just like for like a lot of things, even like End and the ones that are just kind of like keep going, but that wall of sound on like Cut and End and Open and stuff are just like, there's so much like guitar wizardry going on. I mean, Pearl just took it to like Cure stratosphere on this one, where it's just like so much cool shit going in there that it's in there on the records, but it's kind of like tucked in there in a nice little way. This is just like, wow, like just listening to it, I was kind of blown away even by like even something like Doing the Unstuck, when you're like really hearing the cool guitar parts. I'm just
glad
like,
you brought that up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, I'm totally glad you brought that up. That was on my re-listen this past week. That was the thing that stuck out to me the most. Is like, I always liked the song just fine. Something about this version, though, I don't know if it just kind of, there's a little more space in there, and I'm hearing the stuff I didn't hear as much on the album, but yeah, the guitars on that are fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like just a constant thing. It's just cool mood.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to fuck with, like, they're just looking at them as a musician. Like, that does stand out to me, too. Like, they're just, like, fucking shredding like motherfuckers.
Yeah.
What a wall of sound. Like,
because in this era, I think it's cool because Robert's doing his thing, kind of just holding it down more, especially like these songs from Wish, and then like Perry's doing a lot of the cool little lead parts that are in the song too. But they're not like the main thing. It's just like a cool little lead part or something. And then like Pearl could just totally fucking tear it up and just. I mean, even the older songs.
Do all the synth parts on my fucking guitar, like whoop, and just like nail it. It's like damn.
Yeah.
Because I feel like beast,
Reeves can do that too, but he doesn't have the extra guitar going there now too. So it's like that 3 guitars, a huge key to it. I think where Pearl could kind of just do a lot of like feedback and cool shit that like blends into the awesome playing too. So.
And you're totally right. And Donald, to your point about like this thing is show. This is the big leagues now. Like we're getting the '97 Bulls with this lineup. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They're coming at you. We're fucking coming out guns blazing with Opium. We're just going to plow through the hits. We're going to give you the deep cuts on Wish. I don't know. It's a great package as it is. Again, like, I don't want to have to circle back to this because I feel like I more positive than negative on this one, but it does kind of slow down for me once we get into Never Enough and then end, unfortunately. But
yeah,
right,
okay.
But still, like even with that, even like overlooking that, this thing is it's pretty good.
But so I mean, I guess as we start to wrap up thoughts on overallness, then I think it does kind of like capture the time period, if nothing else, too. Like I used to say, it's a great possible greatest hits in a sense, but I don't really think. I think it captures the Wish era perfectly, and introduces fans, like we said, to some old singles if they didn't know those for whatever reason, But so I think it does. It does have like a giant stadium sound, which I guess could turn some people off, like but it's what it was, So it's kind of like. Right. I felt like captures that good. But what about you, Chaz? How do you feel?
For show, I like the first disc definitely more than the second.
Okay. So you feel like it kind of loses steam too? Or?
Yeah, I think like a lot of the second track or second disc is dog shit, but I like Never Enough kind of kills it. Okay. And then you go to cut and end. It just kind of fades out at the end. But I do like from the Edge of a Deep Green Sea, you don't get that really loud just chimes, like the keyboard sound over and over
that
again.
one note that just goes.
The infamous keyboard part. Yeah, it is mixed in really subtle on that one. So good job.
Dude, you know what?
They fucking realized their mistakes.
Honestly, I think this might be the definitive version of that song.
Yeah, because like every other time I've heard it, every other time I've heard it, you hear that ding, 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 ding over and over again, and this one you don't. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. What did you say?
I was just saying that mixed with Pearl solo again. I think on that one's like fucking killer. So, but Sam?
Yeah. I like the fact that they did go poppy on the second side, but it doesn't work. Like I was laboring going through the second part of it. Although I love the first disc one. So, but there's a lot of stuff I don't like about Paris either. So there's some stuff that I like and stuff I don't like. But yeah. So
here we go.
Cool. So I guess any other thoughts on show then? Well, should we move on to?
I haven't listened to these records in like 15 years. Probably.
Always on top of your homework, though.
Hold on. The first disc on show. I did like the fact that Fascination Street seemed to be sped up.
Okay.
And there was another song that was sped up where it was like, okay, I like this a little bit more than the regular version. Was it Lullaby that was sped up?
Which one?
Lullaby is a little faster too. So
maybe.
And this is back in the era where they're not playing to the click track, so they can be a little loose with the tempo. But I love when they play with the arrangements like this, except for End. But otherwise, and they do it a little bit in Paris too. I love when they mess with that stuff.
I'm gonna say that I love Simon's bass on this.
Okay.
And I also like I like Robert's voice because it's not like now you kind of get this robotic kind of. It's amazing, but it's still like with the older sets, it feels like he's more of like a I'm gonna be karaoke Robert, where he kind of experiments a little bit more with his voice, and he's kind of like all over the place, and it doesn't sound so produced, I guess, as it does like in the 40th anniversary and stuff like that.
It almost like he's sharper now. Almost there's kind of this like rumbly, mumbly low. I couldn't really even put my thumb on how I would describe it, but there's some kind of like way his voice was sounding through show that it's like very like like more sedated a little bit too while he said, which he probably is a lot to do with whatever he does pre-show back then is probably a lot different than what he does now, but not to speculate, but I'm just saying it is weird. It's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, it could be the thing too where, because you, like I said, you start off with open, which his vocals on open is always kind of flat to me. Like it kind of carried right into high right after, like, because even that song I'm like, oh, okay, like he's kind of not raising his voice as much as he would. But anyway,
I did have one question for you, Gavin.
Uh-huh.
This version of Pictures of You, is this the best version of Pictures of You that?
It's funny you said that because I was like, I really was listening to Entreat the other week for his birthday. Actually, I listened to all the live ones, and I was like, that I've always just kind of had it in my head that was the best one. But he fucks up the order of the lyrics on that one, which is kind of a shame because I kind of like everything else on that one better. But this one, he nails it. I kind of do think this might be the best live performance. I wouldn't take it over the studio recording, but I kind of do.
But I listened to this I think 3 times in a row while I was making dinner tonight. Yeah. And I was like, this might be the best version of Pictures of You that I can think of.
Love
like, just off the top of my head of all the live recordings of that I've heard.
And there's a lot of those.
Probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty flawless. It's on all of them from this point on. I think it's gonna be hit.
And when we get into Paris, that's for me. There's like 3 or 4 of them that are the definitive version.
Yeah, I kind of agree. So maybe we should shift gears to Paris.
Let's do it.
Recorded October 19th, 20th, and 21. So this one's different because it's filmed or recorded over 3 days in Les Zéniths de Paris. So in actual Paris, of course.
Flawless.
Yeah. And
Les Zéniths de Paris
holds 9,000, if you're curious. It held roughly 9,000 people, which isn't that much, actually. So, but I mean, it's in Paris. So, yeah, the one for show held up to 23,000. I don't know if that was the full whatever that they packed it up. So a small little intimate
on the Wikipedia
show.
page. It says its ability to seat up 6,293 people makes it the largest venue in Paris. One of the largest venues.
Yeah.
God damn.
I assume music wise because I don't think that counts for like I assume that soccer or football is big over there.
And if it's going to be right in Paris, then...
Right on.
Yeah, this one's weird because it's like kind of more cherry-picked, though. Like, if you look at the set list from show, it was pretty much that full. They just took a couple out. But this was kind of they just cherry-picked, and who knows what the order was from those 3 nights. So it's definitely less cohesive, legit show order. But... so that's, cool. And much shorter, too. It's 57 minutes versus, like, what, an hour and 13 minute show was. So kind of less of the actual... It's not, like, a legit representation of, like, what Don was saying of, like, the actual show if you were there. But more just kind of cherry-picking cooler, deeper cuts. Even though they're not super deep cuts, but they're still... more rare than show, of course, and actually, I kind of noted as time goes on, it's nice because they're songs you don't have a lot of cool live versions of necessarily.
That's why it's the best.
Yes, I mean having stuff like Catch and stuff on there is pretty cool. I mean we'll get into the specifics, but like some of them, it's cool that they're documented in a good high quality live recording, because you're not going to really hear those ever again. Probably you're never going to get a live version of a part at a on a live CD or something. So that's pretty rad, I think. But yeah, so just a lot of aspects of Paris is cool. Like we were saying, this is obviously more of the nod to the diehard fans, or at least just deeper level fans than the people that just got won over with Friday I'm in Love and Disintegration even. So I think that's kind of cool.
I feel like they just put all the names in a hat and just picked them all.
And it works so perfectly.
Yeah,
of the track listing too.
Like, it is a weird track listing. They would never play a show like this that would flow like this. It's so odd. I guess
now imagine if you go to a show and this is what you get though.
Yeah.
Start off Bam Figurehead. You know what I mean? That'd be insane.
Yeah, totally. It's like open with Figurehead, going to 100 years.
Open with Figurehead, close with Close to Me.
Yeah.
It's a good night.
Because really, yeah, Close to Me is probably the only
it's like Get All Heavy, just
poppy one, but
yeah, just like Get All Heavy, they close on like a heavy boy, like
yeah, it's a weird. It
works.
To me, it's like, okay, we're gonna set this up to be like a really dark dark live album, and then it just kind of falls off the rails a little bit to me. But like, I mean, because we had talked about like if you were gonna go to a Cure show and it's just gonna be dark material, what would it be? And like a lot of this would hit on that, on that feel. It's just like when you throw Catch in there.
Yeah,
and Close to Me, or
dressing
even,
up.
It's
like, whoa.
Although I will say, I prefer this version of Dressing Up than on the album.
Okay,
but
maybe we should address that. Yeah, because
winning him over.
I think there's
hit me with some Dressing Up. Dressing Up is a good fucking song, and I'm glad they played that.
Beautiful song,
it's
so sweet.
Really, it's so pretty.
It's better on this, I think.
And the arrangement's perfect. Like Pearl just doing his thing on this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just in between the verses, we're just kind of jamming a little bit.
Yeah. I've made a note of that. It's really cool because it's like it takes away from like the synth flute being like the huge front and center kind of thing. There's like some cool guitar atmosphere shit going on. It's like, okay, that's works so much better. But
yeah, like
but
I love that song, and it's a good version.
I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying there, Chaz, of like it's a weird flow for sure, but I think there's still.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just I think it's odd because it's like it's going deeper for people, but it's still in the vein of like new fans on the heels of show. Yeah. So I mean, you know what I mean?
It's like hey, we do this stuff also.
Yeah,
I mean they definitely missed the boat by not putting Never Enough on this one.
Yeah, they should have just put it on this too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a slow version of it, maybe like a.
They just fast forward and put Wrong Number on it somehow.
But like I think it's kind of like those. If you guys are on iTunes, they have like the Essentials playlist, and then they have like slightly deeper cuts. This is like the slightly deeper cut playlist, and then they have like the crazy deep that they didn't put that out, of course. But kind of cool looking at the set list of the actual shows of those 3 nights. They're on setlist.fm or whatever.
I have it up here.
So just a handful of some of the possible ones that they did cut out since they were just kind of batching around. Fire in Cairo, which would have been cool on there. Big Hand, they played live. Strange Day, Faith, Jumping Someone Else's Train, M. So there's a lot of cool ones.
All which would have fit on here.
Yeah, totally. So it's a shame that this wasn't the double disc. That would have been rad. Just to put those on there.
Beside like all their good songs.
Even his compliments are sounding like insults now. I don't know. I can't even tell the difference anymore. It's like, which are the good songs? I don't know. So yeah,
it's like you put out a live album and you don't include like fucking Faith. Like all right, guys. Like,
well,
like they could do anything. Like they literally had everything at their hands. And that's what they did. That's my only stink with these records. Like, whilst I liked them and I listened to them a lot when I was a kid, and I was like, fuck yeah. But as an adult, I'm just like looking, just how hard like doing shit is. Yeah. And they put all this effort into making like this whole big fucking tour and all like double albums and fucking singles and EPs and like this is what you did with all that.
What's the complaint?
I'm just saying.
Donald, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Did you listen to these 2 albums recently?
No.
How do you know you've matured past them then?
Because let me answer the question. Because
you're an adult and you have all this time.
There's a reason why I haven't listened to them.
Oh, is that a principle?
Number fucking 1. Like, there's a reason why I haven't gone back and nostalgically, and I've listened to these records 1,000 fucking times.
Just not know how to get out what you put in there, brother.
Right, exactly, and that's why I don't listen to these fucking records. Just saying. I'm being real as fuck. But it's like there's a reason why I don't listen to them. Like,
what was the reason though? You never actually said it because they have a big production. What was the problem?
I'm just saying, like, my connection to this record as an adult, I have a nostalgic like connection to it. Like,
well, apparently not.
Like, I grew up with it. Like I listened to this shit on cassette.
Okay, well, what was
making like fucking money and shit when I was like 16. like I have connections to this fucking record, but as an adult,
cool.
What did they not do that you
they just
felt
don't
like
hit.
they should have done?
They just don't hit. Like they just don't hit, and it upsets me. Like when I'm like, I wish you were better records.
Like, what did they not do that?
Just saying, like,
you wanted them to do.
Say you're an artist.
Yeah, of course.
This is every podcast. This is every podcast.
Sorry,
I'm saying, and you have all these things at your hands. Like all these, like this big.
I know they're a successful band. We can skip this part, but what
like,
do you
cast to like fucking make art, and that's what you do with it.
What? Like play an awesome
like,
show
and
of all
I
your
think they
singles?
fucked it up.
How did they fuck it up? And which album are we even talking about? Are we talking about both?
Wait.
Because they capitalized on it. They monetized it.
You're saying they fucked it up on Paris? Hold on. I'm sorry. I was kind of doing some work in the background.
Yeah.
Me too. We're good.
Don't mind me. Wait, you're saying Paris
it's like they made it all about money and not about art. And it shows.
Which one? Are we talking about both albums or just Show? Or what are we even talking about?
I'm just saying.
Both albums? Which one?
It was like Paris was like the okay one. That's
okay.
All. Like that's the only thing.
Okay.
Just like
I was shit. Even wish for shit.
All right.
You got into the money.
He's got to get this. He's got to get this off his chest every episode. So this is
as the representative of the audience here.
Okay.
You're on strike. You're on strike 2.5 with the wish comments.
Okay. Rightfully so. Go ahead.
There's gonna be a revolt.
I'll just go ahead and give him the third strike right now. You think about that for a bit more, Donald, and we'll get back.
You guys know I'm right, but I'm gonna shut the fuck up for a minute.
It's worth noting that Paris was 50% of its royalties were given to the Red Cross and the Red Crescent movement.
That's great.
Support of
Yeah, what do you think about that, you monster? You don't like charity?
That goes a long way.
But they did it all for money.
Yeah, so going back to Donald's money and production rants and stuff, it's an extra bonus thing that the fans would like, so that's nice. And it was all for 50% for charity anyway. So I mean, that's kind of explains what it was. Then why would you put out a second live?
I might walk a little back, like whatever I was saying. I might walk that a little back, but they did make the best of a very capitalist like music, like what labels.
Okay.
Wasn't entry part of a money, like a fundraiser thing too?
Yeah,
it was for It was for cats with UTIs.
All right, we're falling off the rails.
Yeah, let's regroup. Sorry, were you about to say something, Matt?
Sorry, guys. I had a long day, man. I'm like, woo.
I'm having one now.
I'm telling you.
Sorry.
Let me do this.
Okay.
Let me do this, Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Let me lay out my case, and I'll be brief here, and you tell me if this helps change your mind on this record, okay? So, and then if it helps, keep in mind that it was for charity. I think that's also a little thing, but here we go. So you got the atmosphere. We're kicking it off with Figurehead. You're going, right? You got the crowd, these like awesome French people. Just the whole thing is mixed perfectly. You got the bass coming in,
Vibing out.
right? Right off of that, you think like, wow, what a way to start. Bam, you got 100 years. No, we're not done. Bam, we got At Night. Bam, we got Play for Today. With the French
Can I interrupt real
singing.
quick? Can I interrupt real quick? Would you rather have 100 Years first or Figurehead?
Figurehead.
Really?
Yeah, you can't
Yep.
not start
Figurehead.
with Figurehead. The drums are the fucking best on that. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's the
cannot
best
do that.
intro to this thing I could think. If you look at all the things that are on here for like contention, what you
Right.
put first, Figurehead's number one with a bullet for me. Just that
Really?
intro is
Yo,
so
wow.
cool, and it sets the stage for what this thing is going to be.
Yeah.
And like to your point, I see what you're saying. How it's kind of a hodgepodge, and
Yeah.
you're right. I think it shouldn't work when you kind of like throw random songs out there. But for me, yeah, this thing is just, it's perfect. It's tight. It's atmospheric and just dreamy and like nostalgic in a way. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. There's something about that like opening drum beat to 100 Years that like kind
I hear you.
of kicks you in the balls.
But that's why I think
Yeah.
it's good because like playing this thing, like Figurehead is such a kind of heavy song. And you're like,
Oh,
oh,
it's
wow,
amazing.
like
Yeah,
after that
yeah, yeah.
thing. And then it goes right into, you know, and you're getting
I'll
the
give you
drums
that,
for 100
yeah.
years. Like, oh shit, we're
Yeah.
going right back into this again?
Yeah.
It's
It
awesome.
sets a mood.
I got
I
yeah,
love
I got
that.
It's a
version,
very
too.
purposeful, you want to set a mood.
Yeah.
It's like those two motherfuckers back to back.
100%.
Woo! Like,
Yes. And it doesn't let up. And you would think like once they get into the kind of more pop territory it would, but they were so smart on this thing, like having Catch. If you're gonna throw some singles out there, so look, you got Love Song, beautiful song. Catch,
Yeah.
it's just sweet as hell. A Letter to Elise.
Perfect.
Charlotte Sometimes, the best version to me of that song.
Yeah.
They cherry pick this
It's up there.
thing to use the best
it was
singles.
nice
that
to
fit
hear
in.
Letter to Elise live.
Oh my
on
God,
recording.
it's so good.
Like,
Yeah.
Like at the time, it was like fucking like yes. Like,
Yeah.
This is the best.
When he
song.
raises
Like,
his voice up a key on that third verse, or I'm sorry, the third chorus there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, it's so good, so good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta like temper myself here because obviously this was a big thing for me.
No, it's perfect.
What about the
Thank
what
you.
about
Thank
ending on
you.
Close to Me?
Run wild, man.
I love it. I think it's a very sweet
Really?
ending to and I
Okay.
love how kind of airy and atmospheric it is. Again, when they're kind of messing with the tempos, it's slowed down a little bit where it almost has a different feel to it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
not the party song that it is. It's kind of more like a romantic thing to me
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. Yeah.
Which ones would you stand by then? Do you think might be definitive versions or like arguably better than the real?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to be hyperbolic here because my like heart is saying
Yeah.
most of these, but my brain is saying, okay, I can narrow it down. Love Song, and very quickly I'll just say, whoever made the decision to take the synth fake little horn and have Pearl play that on guitar is like the most genius thing. And why aren't they still doing that? You know what I mean? It's like such a simple thing, and then again, Perry knows his role in this band, in this lineup so well, where he's not doing the swells, he's not overplaying anything. Everything has room to breathe. So I would go Love Song, Charlotte Sometimes, Dressing Up, Letter to Elise as definitive. And honestly,
Damn.
you know what? Probably Figurehead too.
Yeah. Huh.
Even over the studio. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I'd probably go with. I'd actually like At Night. I kind of like better. It has like, and In Your House, really. I felt like both of them just have like more like kind of atmosphere, and there's a lot, even though like the whole of 17 Seconds with the production's cool because it works great all together, but like I feel like these versions are just like there's so much more epic, and there's a lot like more emotion in them when they do.
Boris hit so hard on that night too. Such a heavy foot on that one.
Yeah.
So good.
And
I'm not a fan of that night.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that night on this. Yeah,
on this one,
interesting.
You know what? Let me take that back. I'm a fan of the song on this album. I don't like the pick of that song compared to other ones that they had.
Here we go.
What didn't we already have another Letter Release live version that we thought was the best version?
I like the unplugged one still. I think that unplugged
was that that's what it was?
Yeah, even though the quality's crap, there's never a good quality one. But like, if there was like some kind of like remastered one, I think that would be it. I just love and then there's a lot of nostalgia in that too. But at the same time, I think it's he's just really nailing some weird emotion stuff in that acoustic one that I think works better than this. Is great though because they don't really have it live that much.
I agree with you. The one thing that's strange about that song in particular to me is you're right. I really love the unplugged version, and I really love this version too. But the studio album, I'm kind of like, it's okay. For some reason, I think they just play it better live. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know if
it has like a different feel to it. I know, and the arrangement's kind of close, but they're just a little more loose and relaxed with it. I don't know. I think with both the unplugged and this, it just feels more genuine for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, what was the songs again that you said were the definitive ones?
I think, to me, I would say Love Song, Charlotte Sometimes, Figurehead, and Letter to Elise probably too.
Yeah, I can agree with you on Letter to Elise and Charlotte Sometimes.
Charlotte Sometimes.
Charlotte Sometimes is perfect on this.
Charlotte Sometimes is
It
weird.
has not sounded as good as this.
Yeah, this sounds great in like a more like getting out of the 80s sound. I feel like the recording kind of sounds dated, but it's cool because it's that way. But at the same time, this feels like of the band from this point on, like I feel like this is definitely, I agree, this is the best it's gonna sound, so
I will say that my biggest complaint with this album is kind of the opposite of Show, where Simon's bass was like the star of Show. I felt like the Paris recording that the synths were a little bit too strong, but it could have been just the selections of songs they picked though.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely 100% sure.
True.
I listened to it like 3 times today because I was at baseball and everything. But
Jesus Christ,
it's it's an hour long, so I was there for like 3 hours. So, like I think that's my only complaint is that other than some of the songs they picked compared to what they could have gone with, but like Dressing Up, I don't like that song at all, but like on this, it's charming to me.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
I enjoy it a little bit more on this a lot more on this than I do on the top. So
and it's like throw Dressing Up on a fucking record, like fuck out of here.
Right, and you would think like looking at it, this should not work. You should not be able to have a record that has 100 years at night and then Dressing Up.
Yeah,
but for some reason,
somehow it works. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to me, it seems like a good balance that they got. But
yeah, like Paris is like this record. I'm like slap, like
here we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
like,
he's back.
It fucking works. Like
he's back.
To me, it feels like Dressing Up would work more in Europe than it does in the United States. So kind of, I felt like the reaction of the audience was really strong as soon as they went into it, and I was like, I don't know if you'd get the same reaction over here.
Yeah, you never do. It's and that's why it's cool to have a documented recording of that. I mean, we've got later stuff, but yeah,
I love the audience in this. Just period, they're so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I noticed, especially compared to Show, where it's kind of like more of a muddy mix, like. I don't know if you guys caught, but in Love Song, like in the second verse, that girl who just screams at one part, it's like it's very isolated.
Awesome.
Dude, like that's like a Goosebumps moment for me. I love that.
I have to listen to that.
It's so cool.
Just like in the middle somewhere.
It just
or
seems
is
like
it
a very intimate show.
there's something about like live recordings that can either be hit or miss.
Yeah.
And like I've grown up not liking them too much just because you listen to hardcore punk and like the music is kind of so fast that the singer can't really catch up to it all the time.
Yeah.
And there's like,
Yep.
you get timing mistakes that are picked up really quickly. And like stuff with like this, it's so big that it's like you kind of have to enjoy it, like especially if you're a fan of the band. But like some live shit is terrible.
Yeah.
And this stuff is so good.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I wish with this album, I wish they would have switched. If you're gonna keep Close to Me on it, I would rather than have the end the album with Charlotte Sometimes, just because of how good that is. And I feel like it's like a good bookend between the figurehead and Charlotte Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of get that. Yeah. I kind of feel like it's a little like, why try now to throw a, like you said, it's still not like full on, 2019 encore Close to Me, but at the same time, it is still a little bit like, what? Why are we having fun now? All the way up, it's been kind of like, medium level dark at least, like
that's kind of an issue that you get when you're like hand picking songs to throw on a live album instead of just organically taking the whole set and just throwing it on on the album. So you're gonna run into stuff like that where you're picking stuff, but I just think if I had my way, because that's what we do here.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of it was those 3 nights, which was the best version of what song, and he legit just pulled like his favorite ones.
You think so?
Probably. I mean, it's like those. It's recorded those 3 nights. He probably just pulled them, but then you work with what you have. I'm sure he liked a lot of them, but at the same time, then you strip it down into something more cohesive. But he probably really liked something about that version of Close to Me. He was like, that should be on there. That was fun. That was a good, and it was like, okay, cool.
It's different enough from the version we got on In Orange, too.
Yeah.
Like less party-ish and more kind of.
If you go back to In Orange, like that release for general, consumption, was that the whole entire set?
Yeah.
List?
Yeah.
Because I know when they did
feels like it.
Okay, because I know when
In Orange is like the fucking banger.
I know when they did the bootleg of the record, they left off a good chunk of the entire set list.
Yeah.
So, but that was a bootleg. But I mean,
but it's a video too.
Yeah.
So it's like you can do that.
So yeah, and like something like this, like they kind of they showed their massive penis with Show, and in Paris they're
big
just,
flex.
They're just like
totally.
Yeah, that's why
I admire that.
Yeah, it's more just a little bonus.
Me too, because it's almost like, oh yeah, and by the way, we have this.
Yeah.
There's like no promotion for it really, and it was going to charity. You know what I mean? It's just like I think it's even more endearing, honestly.
Yeah, totally. That's why I'm blown away.
Yeah. Totally, dude.
It's like total cred to it.
Like they're using their clout.
Let me ask you a question.
Properly.
Go ahead,
Donald. I think you've studied law before, so you probably have the answer to this. But, so this came out October '93, right? And all sales. Or you said half went to
50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I bought this on clearance it would have been like 2006. Would they still have gotten the money from a clearance record 13 years ago?
No.
But whoever probably bought like the record shop or CD shop that bought it.
Yeah, Sam Goody.
Whatever that bulk
that money. Like it didn't go to a charity.
Well, no, whatever
the good old Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble paid their cut of the charity. So I think with their distribution, they probably did it.
So in college, I worked at the Barnes and Noble, and like specifically in the music section. So back then, obviously, I'm sure it's still the same now. It's like a lot of singer-songwriter, coffee shop, like musical soundtrack, flavor of the week shit.
Mm-hmm.
But they did have a Cure section. Okay, so that's where I got Paris. But they had 2 other Cure CDs there. Okay, and this always fucking drove me nuts because I'm like, if someone walked off the street and like, oh yeah, I just heard a Cure song, I'm gonna go check them out. and these are the two things that they had to buy. I'll let you guess what they were.
This was 2006.
Wait, what year was
Like
this?
the worst fucking representation of this band. 2006.
Okay. I should be good at this because I worked at a used CD shop too. So I'll let you guys go first though.
I feel like it's like
2006.
whatever had like the 13th on it or something.
Yeah.
Like just some really shitty fucking like.
I'd say worse, actually. No, worse.
The self-titled?
Oh no!
Yep, self-titled was the first one. Yep.
The self-titled?
And then right behind that,
Galore.
no. So a single, but
So-
not one you would expect.
Hold on.
It was a single.
Hold on. What was it? Was it Wrong Number or Never Enough? Wrong Number?
A little later.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
A single. Friday I'm in Love. Bro.
That nobody wanted.
Oh no, let's see.
Nobody wanted. Well, was it one off of Wild Mood Swings?
Are we talking about a different band?
No.
2006. I'm trying to.
Yep. So self-titled, I remember like, oh fuck, this
Okay.
sucks. And then right behind it,
Are they used or just discounted? That's where I was confused.
So
no, these are like brand new retail.
Oh, okay.
So the weird thing was Paris was discounted. That's how I got
Okay,
it.
yeah.
$9.98. But these other ones were fucking full
Yeah.
price for some reason.
Okay, and like
yeah,
and sometimes
I
like
think maybe their worst single they ever released. Maybe.
Freak Show is probably their worst single, but that was
Not
2008.
yet. Yeah. So you're on them. You're close, but not yet.
Is it off the self-titled?
Yeah.
Alt End?
Yes.
Wow.
Alt End.
Okay.
With that
job,
terrible
Chaz.
cover. I
That was
looked at that
fucking
thing
awful.
daily. I'm like, can I just throw this in the trash so no one actually
So
buys
their
it?
whole Cure section
I just say
was the self-titled album and a single for Alt End. That was all they had.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And I'm like, God, I just feel bad for whoever comes off the street. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, let's see what Cure stuff they have. Oh, fuck.
It's like you had to do like community service, like you.
Yeah, I'm
fucked
like,
up
can
in
we
life.
just
Like, you
order
had
a copy of Disintegration?
to, like you had
Totally.
to throw all these singles out, like just like I'm doing everyone a fucking favor.
At the used store I worked at, it used to bother me when our Cure section was always like, it was always like Wild Mood Swings because people would pawn. It was just whatever ones pawned it. But a lot of times it's misleading because it'd be the one everybody bought, but then they're just pawning all their CDs and shit. So you would get like, Standing on the Beach a lot or something, or Galore, if it was used, because that's the one everybody bought and they just didn't like them, so they traded it in or whatever, But yeah, it would drive me crazy when it was just ever like in the bare moments, or it was just like the self-titled and Blood Flowers and Wild Mood Swings. I was like, come on, man, this isn't like
Just like turn them backwards
yeah,
at the cover art.
just like it's like bringing in my extra copies just as a buffer to put it.
Exactly. Guys, I'll just go buy one from Best Buy.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I don't care.
Here's what you should. I mean, you should have bought the self-titled and just. I flipped my second copy for a copy of Entreat and something else.
Oh,
so,
Used
yeah.
it to,
Oh, wow.
you got to
big-
think
big
that shit
upgrade.
is an
Big
investment.
upgrade.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's always good games. So
Jesus,
one
man.
thing I did want to make sure we hit before we wrapped up, you said that you had stumbled across some kind of review for Paris back in the day, Matt?
I have to say, and I hope. Actually, let me get his name. I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah, we got to give him full credit.
Saved it. Okay. Paul Evans.
Okay.
That's Evens.
Yes.
I don't encourage anyone to try to find this guy on social media or harass him or anything. But from the December.
What magazine? What
20
publication?
Oh, Rolling Stone.
Never heard
This
of
is
it.
December 23rd, 93, just in time for Christmas here. Let me read this review,
Yeah.
and you tell me if you think this guy heard the album that he's reviewing.
Like
okay?
if you even listened to it at all, you think?
Oh man, it's already like the last sentence here. Okay. 2 live albums is a lot of moping, but Robert Smith seems to relish every moment of show and Paris. For 15 years, a totem for trembling teens with high IQs and low self-esteem, Smith is the curator of a band that has built a museum of pretty misery. Particularly with their keyboard fills, they frame their trance-inducing songs with the sharp, angular hooks. Pop for depressives. They rule. There's little apparent difference between these two career overviews. Both feature early somber stuff like Play for Today, mid-period catchiness, Let's Go to Bed, and recent radio masterstrokes, Friday I'm in Love, and in bulk, there's considerable fascination to this work. The faux Middle Eastern exoticism of their swirling melodies, Smith's acid muezzin, Muezzin, wailing, all black velvet bryonic pain. Last sentence, spooky. Now, if you had read that in 1993, would you have any fucking idea what album he's talking about here? Or...
No.
Like most of the songs he mentioned aren't even on it, right? So
most of the songs he mentions are on show, and there's like nothing about the album.
No.
So.
I looked this Joker up, and he wrote the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll.
Oh boy!
Oh,
So I mean, if anybody's got the inside knowledge and scoop of what's really bumping and humping out there, it's this guy.
I think he nailed it. He knows a little bit about a lot of bands, but
Definitely. So I think, timing wise, it's Christmas time. He wants to, wrap up his work and get home to his family for the holidays. Let me just talk about how Robert looks, and I'll throw on 2 songs from the album I'm not talking about, and we'll talk about Brianna.
He's like, hey,
he's like, I listened to the show.
Like his wife is like, what are you doing? He's like, I gotta write up some shit on Aerosmith next.
He's like, what's another word for?
Give me a minute.
Yeah. Did he say they rule? Like just randomly in the middle of it? Like was like they rule? Or,
yes.
It was like what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I really think this guy clearly doesn't know who they are or even what he was reviewing, because obviously he's putting on songs from Show on there, which aren't on Paris, and he's just like throwing out random words and descriptions of like
they're all
I guess Robert, but
he's like, just buy it.
Yeah, I guarantee you he didn't even write this. Like it wouldn't surprise, like how big of a person he is at Rolling Stone. Like even in '92, I would guess that either he just
gave it to the
briefly
intern.
listened to it and like confused both of them, or he gave it to some like an intern. He was like, review this and write it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna slap my name on it and take credit for it. So you're an intern.
If you're like that big in Rolling Stone and like that was a big ass thing, it's like such a vague. It was so fucking vague.
They rule.
Nobody in 1992 that's into The Cure is gives a fuck what Rolling Stone says.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I know.
Especially 92. Like, fuck out of here.
It's just funny because I think if like someone did that in 2021, let's say like a Justin Bieber album, and they put the wrong songs on there, the guy's he'd get canceled.
God. Like
he'd be out of work.
he'd be trending on Twitter right now.
Totally.
Exactly.
Well, it felt like he was just saying like those songs are good. Is like, but he wasn't like he was like they're not on here, but they're good songs. So you should buy the other album.
That's a really good point, man.
Those other songs rule, but I mean this one has some good ones too, I guess. But
I mean, this other album's really good, but this one I didn't listen to.
Well, I guess on that note, we should do a quick round out here and let you go, Matt, or maybe we say where this stands in your overall Cure live albums, like of any official live recordings. How does this maybe not rank? Is it just at the top or whatever? Or also just obviously Show or Paris? Where do you fall?
Tough questions,
Sure.
man.
Yeah, no, see, I would say that, okay, I'm getting my feet held to the fire here. Yeah, obviously Paris is going to be my favorite.
Going with Paris.
Live.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I think just the fact that, definitely this century, they've put out so many live albums that it kind of dilutes the specialness of it.
Yeah.
But it makes Paris all that better to me. Because, I know it's like a nice, warm, comforting blanket,
Yeah.
I can always go back and hear a part or, catch.
Yeah.
And Show, like I said, I think it's really special, but it just the opening, that they kind of, they hamstring themselves by starting with open and ending with end. And just it's so long that I'm like, I just want this thing to get started. But, Paris #1 for sure.
Do you hold this higher than any of the other live recordings before or since? Is this
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
I would say
go-to live.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go Paris and Treat, maybe Show after that, and then the rest. To me, those later live albums aren't as essential for me. This is kind of like the peak for me.
Cool. Yeah, what about you, Chaz?
I mean, as official live recordings go, I'd probably put Show above Paris just because of the quantity that you have and the amount of songs that I get down with, I guess, is more on Show than Paris. But I don't know. I think they should go hand in hand together. Like, I don't think that it's the same tour, and it's not like Concert in Orange where they're 2 years apart from each other or however long, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, we had this discussion before, like our favorite live album. So, but like, I think like I still think Entreat is my favorite just because Disintegration is the greatest album ever. So I mean, it's hard.
Kind of fucking sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But like even with Entreat, it's kind of goes hand in hand with Paris, where it's not. It's a specific, like it's a very short amount of songs.
Right.
Like it's not bloated. It's not over the top. You're not looking for like 3 discs or anything. So
keep it tight.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them together.
Yeah,
just to confuse everybody.
Legit wrote that question out and then crossed it out and then re-asked it because it was kind of like they are, like we said, the yin and the yang of each other. You kind of have to listen to them both. You know, it is kind of like you can't really pit them against each other, but at the same time, you know, it is interesting. Yeah, I think just because...
Will we ever see it? Will we ever see it re-released? Like, will we see any of this?
I hope so. Like you're saying, that would be really cool because you could beef it up and put it out, you know, with at least the sideshow on there with Paris re-released with a couple more outtakes.
Put it all together.
You know they have more of the outtakes, so why not? You know, at least just put those 4 songs from the...
They should have done that, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with them not. But...
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, you can't put a 18 song thing out.
I was gonna say that like the only thing that bothers me is the fact that I can't get Paris or Show on vinyl.
Yeah.
Unless I want to spend, you know, $300 a piece or $250 or whatever it is a piece just to get one. And like, I don't think that's fair to the average fan. Not that they control the secondary market prices, but like, you know, they reissued Wild Mood Swings, you know, for Record Store Day as a picture disc. You know, why can't they do Paris and Show as, you know, even if it's a CD, I'll take it, you know.
Yeah, I'd have to go today with Paris over Show, which is weird for me because I've loved Show for so long. And I think it's mostly because Show... Show, Show, I think it's kind of just... because I'm tired of a lot of those songs, you know, or like you said, it's just you don't hear those as much live, so it's fun to hear Catch and stuff. But you know, it's more like if I feel like listening to Wish, then that's better. But I think it does, like we said, capture that time period perfectly. I used to think it was more of a best of, but so today I go with Paris, but ultimately Entreat too. I'll still go as my favorite live, just because it captured that time period.
Entreat's fucking sick.
So.
And the fun part is we're all winners because we have both of them.
Yeah. Totally.
Some of us are.
Yeah.
Very true.
Can that maybe... This doesn't have to go in the podcast because I just realized it, but like on the second side of Show, it goes from doing the Unstuck, which I think is a great version that they do there, but then it goes into the Walk, just Let's Go to Bed and Friday I'm in Love, which is just like, ugh. Like it's just like I'm like I like all those songs individually, but to me they're kind of like all the same level.
Yeah. Well, maybe that is why it's weird because
like,
they cut those out. That's what we were saying on the one disc version. It just does doing the Unstuck into Friday I'm in Love, which is like Wish, you know, and then it's done with that. So yeah, that would be kind of a long stretch of like pop songs I don't necessarily want to hear that much, you know. I mean,
and they've done those songs like 1,000 fucking times. Yeah. Like, why put this on? Like I was saying earlier, it's like, why put this on? Like,
yeah.
And
you know, it's like
Let's Go to Bed in particular.
You know, like anyone that's listening to like a live recording of the fucking Cure, like release like Sam Goody, like you know the B cuts. like the B-sides.
No, though, like at that time period, so many new fans. Like so many people got won over that era. So I mean, they hadn't probably heard that shit. So.
That's true. Like I don't know, but it's just like a whack representation of like, hey, you want to hear us live?
Yeah.
You got to give them credit that their two most played, probably biggest songs aren't on either of these, with "Boys Don't Cry" and "The Forest."
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I mean, yeah, that blows my mind because "The Forest" we've already established is their number one played song ever. Like they play it every single concert, and it's not on either of these. So
right, and you would think
which I'm kind of like I'm kind of upset because of how good Simon's bass was on show. Mm-hmm. Like I would have loved to hear a Forest version of his fucking just bass just slamming away those last couple seconds of the song.
Like obvious that they would not put a Forest on there because it was at least 11 minutes long. But that's why I was kind of surprised when I saw that End was 8 minutes long. So yeah, you could have cut End.
It feels longer. It feels longer than
cut End and put fucking Forest there. That would have been like way cooler.
Yeah, I was gonna say take Open and End off of it.
That's what kind of led me to think this was also still a big push for Wish still, like just to keep, selling and promoting that record in particular because it was like, so close after Wish that, basically it's kind of...
Oh, show?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's like instead of putting, don't make it like more of a greatest hits and make it more of like a commercial for show or for Wish, So there's that argument, but...
Yeah, but I mean... Yeah, because if you add in A Letter to Elise and Apart, you pretty much have almost the entire album on there. So, which is normal because you're touring on that album. So it's not. It's
capturing that era. So. Anyway,
but yeah,
cool deal. Well, thanks so much, Matt. I can't thank you enough for all the insight and everything, and hanging in there with us.
Yeah, no, guys, it was a blast. Thanks so much for having me on. I think I made my case.
Yeah,
Paris here.
Yeah, I think you won us over. Yeah. I think.
And I will say again, audience, it was hard, but I wrangled Donald in. He's in now.
You did.
He's good. He's flying right.
You rile me up, man. Like I like talking to you, man. You get me all. You give me zazz.
Right on.
I like talking to you.
Yeah.
It's a fucking joy, man.
Cool deal.
All right, y'all.
Gavin, do you mind if I plug my newish podcast that'll probably be coming out about the same time this comes out?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, cool.
Dun, dun,
so
dun.
I am starting a new podcast with two other people that are not associated with the show, but we are going to be discussing religious trauma and abuse and a lot of heavy shit along with some fun stuff of growing up in the church. So it's going to be heavy, but it's going to be cathartic, and we're going to try to have as much fun with it as possible. And it's going to be called the Excommunication Station. Nice. So that'll be coming out hopefully by the time this episode airs. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. We'll put a link for it in this too, and spread the word some more.
It's something that I've been exploring in therapy, and something that I think that needs to be. I want to help people out, so that's the best way that I can put it.
Man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope, dude. Like, I love this shit.
Let's do it. Cool, man. We'll spread the word. Get it out there. Sounds good. And
fuck yeah.
On that note, we'll say a talk hard from here, and hopefully catch you soon. Definitely welcome back anytime, Matt, that you're willing to put up with us. So.
Absolutely.
I would never campaign for myself to be on an episode of The Holy Hour, but if you ever decide to revisit 413, let me know.
Awesome. We might.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure there's an anniversary coming up somewhere.
What a challenge.
There's always an anniversary with The Cure around the corner, so we'll come up with a reason. It'll be good. We could probably use a revisit.
Wait, it's already past the 10-year anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah. We're past 10 now. Going on 13 years.
15.
Oh, my God. Maybe this is the one we got to do.
Oh, shit.
Here we go.
The 13th anniversary.
Who knows this?
So, all right, on that note, we'll let you go. Take it easy, guys. Ow! All right, talk hard.
Good talking to you, bud.
Later.
right. See, I told you we'd make it through. Again, a very special thanks to Matt for joining us. Always a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for putting up with us, and really always appreciate your clear thoughts and insight on these recordings. So again, thank you guys for listening. Hope you have the urge to go put on show and Paris and dig in and see where it takes you out there. So be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Apple Music, whatever they're calling it nowadays, so you don't miss any more riveting, heated debates like this on upcoming live recordings or other topics here on the Holy Hour Podcast. And follow us on the Instagram at the Holy Hour Podcast so you can see what's on the horizon and keep in the loop. If you would like to contribute any comments or thoughts, dare I say, the Facebook thread is a great place for that. So go to Facebook, find the Holy Hour page. This episode should be right at the top there, and we would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you have an urgent message, feel free to just send it straight to me at gavinconnor@gmail.com. Always love to hear your thoughts, comments, suggestions, or complaints. And so feel free to email me anytime, any topic, and we look forward to hearing from you. Be sure to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/The Holy Hour Podcast, where you can get in on the action. There's lots of bonus material over there too. We've been recording little snippets of mini episodes that are only available to the Patreon followers, so you want to get in on that action too, as well as all the bonus stuff that goes along with each level. 17secondshirts.bigcartel.com is where you can find all the coolest cure wear by Chaz over there. He's posting new shirts all the time, so be sure to follow him at 17_seconds on Instagram to see what's brewing over there and get in on that action. Again, if you want to make yourself a new man this summer with some great cure wardrobe, that's a great place to start. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there for now. We might even have a bonus episode if all goes to plan next week, a brand new one from our buddy Arusha has helped out and sent us a cool conversation, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. And until then, take care of yourselves and be safe out there. Talk hard.